building off of that, we talked about deep learning, how it works, what we need to do. So we talked about the present. What's the future? What's the path forward?
The future of deep learning is to understand like two concepts. The first concept is, I think, like the data pipeline. It's like the way that you feed the images, your features and labels to your deep learning. And that's the most important part, because if you don't feed like good example to the deep learning, your deep learning is not gonna get you like good results.
Exactly.
So that's, I think, the first one. How do you efficiently like give like a distribution of your positive labels, like the salt or the non-salt or the different categories, and to get basically as fast as you can the best model possible.
Right.
And the second option, I think, that is very important that we need to like get focused on, I think it's the architecture of the deep learning.
I see.
So we talk about, for example, UNet, there is like a special architecture. But basically it's like, how do you stack these different layers that what we saw on the example of the cat and dogs? And like in an efficient way, and also to not create like gigantic models, basically. And that's I think like the two first things is the architecture, the data pipeline. And thanks to today, basically, thanks to the advancement that we have on graphic cards, on the power of the graphic cards, we can finally compute these models. Like maybe 10 years before, we already know like basically what we can do with deep learning, but we didn't get basically the power that we can do today. So thanks to the NVIDIA graphic cards that we have, like, and everything ready to that, like basically the tensor core that are inside that let us to like compute way faster everything, or the some equipment that we have like called like TensorRT that basically let us to try to do like the prediction as fast as possible. Thanks to that, we can create like deep learning model very fast and very efficient compared to like 10 years ago.
And we're seeing about this also recently in the news, right? Andrew Ng was talking about how we need to start thinking more critically of how to augment our data, really, and sort of maximize that to accelerate the way that we do things, but also get better models, better results. That's kind of the fundamental piece that we're kind of missing and where we're going in the future. And it kind of brings me to the, sort of this third point, right? There's this interactivity component, which we're having here at Bluware. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, no, I think the interactivity is like something that a lot of people doesn't do so far, and that's how we differentiate for competitors as of today with Bluware. Basically, the interactivity is like you train like a model. There is like a smaller model, let's call it, compared to like this gigantic model that we have like ResNet or other model. And we develop basically this model at Bluware. They are like a little bit like smaller. And by doing this model smaller, you can get faster feedback, basically.
I see.
And so that's how we call it interactive, because instead of waiting hours and hours, like 3 hours, and then the data scientist is like, oh, like this parameter was bad at the end. We basically create this small model and you can have results in like 40 seconds. And then you can update the model on the fly and get better results at the end.
Exactly. Better results, but also working through it much faster, right? Because instead of waiting all these hours, now you can correct it in the process.
Exactly.
Right? In real time.
Yeah. The biggest question as of today is like, where do we want to apply deep learning, and do we need to apply deep learning? I think that's the biggest question. And the third one is like, how do you apply it efficiently? Because there is maybe a lot of problems that you can apply and like solve this problem without deep learning, with like some simplest method. But like you don't need to apply deep learning all the time. And when you do, like you want to have like fast results and the best results, and how you do that. And I think that's what we need to teach people today, and like especially like the top level management or whatever, is like that you don't need to apply deep learning everywhere, but when you apply it, you need to do it correctly, basically.
There's a time and place, right? It's fit for purpose. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's critical to effectively apply them to the proper problems, right? Exactly. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your perspectives, Ben, and your experiences, and also kind of your thoughts and sort of where deep learning will be going into the future. I certainly learned a lot. It's been a pleasure, and it's always great working with you because we still learn more as we continue progressing. So thank you again for stopping by, and
thank you, Julian. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you.